Captain Ryan Keller stood on the bridge of the human exploration ship Erebus Dawn, staring at the alien world glowing blue beneath them. It was the planet Velara, home to one of the most mysterious and advanced civilizations humanity had ever encountered, the Velari. They were a tall, elegant species with skin that shimmered like crystal and eyes that changed color with emotion. Humanity had come to Velara not for war, but for peace and understanding. After centuries of space travel, humans had finally earned a seat among the galactic races. The Velari, known for their wisdom and calm, had agreed to host the humans for scientific exchange. Ryan wasn't a scientist. He was a soldier-turned-diplomat, chosen because of his calm nature and quick thinking. He'd been trained to deal with alien customs, but the Velari culture was something else entirely. They communicated partly through words, partly through light patterns emitted from their skin. A single wrong gesture could be seen as offensive or even dangerous. As Erebus Dawn landed, the first meeting began. The Velari High Council stood waiting in their shining temple, a structure made of pure energy, glowing like a sunrise. At their center stood High Envoy Sarai, the representative of her people. She was tall, graceful, and carried herself like flowing water. Her eyes glowed pale gold, showing calm curiosity as she looked at Ryan and his crew. "Welcome, humans," she said, her voice echoing softly. "May this day begin an age of understanding." Ryan bowed slightly. "On behalf of Earth, we are honored to meet you. We come in peace and friendship." The meeting began smoothly. Discussions about trade, technology, and cooperation. The Velari were cautious but intrigued by humans. Their civilization was hundreds of thousands of years older, yet they admired how quickly humanity had risen. "You burn like a young star," Sarai had said with a faint smile. "Bright and reckless. Everything was going well, until the experiment." 3 days later, Sarai invited Ryan to the Velari Core Gardens, a sacred place where their planet's life energy flowed. She wanted to show him the heart crystals, living structures that kept the planet's biosphere alive. "They respond to emotion," she explained. "When we touch them, they sense our life essence." Ryan, fascinated, asked, "Can I see how it works?" Sarai nodded and placed her hand on a glowing crystal vine. The vine pulsed softly, turning the same color as her eyes. "It connects to the soul," she said. "Only Velari can bond with it safely." Ryan stepped closer, curiosity overtaking caution. "May I?" he asked. Sarai hesitated. "Humans are unstable to the crystal's energy. It might cause a reaction." "I'll be careful," Ryan promised. He extended his hand. Just a brief touch. The moment his fingers brushed the crystal, the entire chamber exploded in light. Energy surged through the air like lightning. The vines lit up in brilliant gold, and the floor vibrated as though the planet itself had awakened. Sarai shouted something, but her words were drowned by the roar of energy. Ryan fell backward, blinded. When his vision cleared, he saw Sarai surrounded by golden light, her body trembling. Her eyes had turned white and the vines around her pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. Then silence. The glow faded. The vines dimmed. Sarai collapsed. Ryan rushed to her side, panic flooding him. "Sarai, are you okay?" Her voice was weak but clear. "What have you done?" He froze. Around them, the once dormant crystals began to bloom, releasing glowing spores that drifted through the air like fireflies. It was beautiful, but Sarai looked horrified. When she woke hours later in the healing chamber, her expression was no longer calm. It was fury. "You triggered the rebirth cycle," she said, her voice trembling. "That energy you released had awakened every dormant life crystal on the planet." Ryan blinked. "Rebirth cycle? What does that mean?" "The heart crystals are our planet's life givers," Sarai explained, her golden eyes now blazing orange, the color of anger. "Every 1,000 years our world renews itself. New forests grow, oceans cleanse, and our species renews its connection to the planet. It was not meant to happen for another 5 centuries. Ryan's stomach dropped. "You mean I started it early?" "Yes." Sarai stood, her crystal skin flashing in anger. "The balance will be broken. The energy will spread uncontrollably. Our ecosystems are not ready. Our people are not prepared." "I didn't mean to," Ryan began. "You touched what you should not have." She shouted, her voice echoing. "Your human biology, your strange life energy has rewritten the code of our crystals. Do you realize what you've done?" Ryan lowered his gaze. No, but I'll fix it somehow. Sarai's glow dimmed slightly, showing confusion. You would take responsibility? He nodded. It was my mistake. I'll help you restore balance no matter what it takes. She studied him silently, her anger slowly giving way to reluctant respect. Humans, she whispered. You cause chaos, yet you face it without fear. The next day, chaos spread across Velara. Forests grew at unnatural speed, and massive crystal structures erupted from the ground. The skies shimmered with energy storms. The Velari people panicked, believing their gods were angry. Ryan joined the Velari scientists and engineers, helping where he could. His ship's AI scanned the planet, identifying unstable regions. He coordinated evacuation zones and provided human technology to stabilize the storms. Despite their distrust, many Velari began to see him not as an intruder, but as someone willing to fight for their world. But Sarai still struggled with her anger. Every time she looked at him, she saw the man who broke the sacred balance. Yet as she watched him risk his life again and again, diving into unstable zones, shielding her people from crystal storms, her anger slowly began to fade. One night, they stood together at the edge of a growing crystal forest, watching the glow of the planet's rebirth. You humans, Sarai said softly, you are reckless, but you care more than any species I have known. Ryan smiled faintly. Maybe that's our curse. Or our gift. Sarai turned to him, her golden eyes calm once again. Perhaps both. But tell me, Captain Keller, can you truly undo what has begun? Ryan looked at the glowing horizon. I don't know, he admitted. But I'll find a way. Even if it means changing myself. Sarai's expression softened. Then maybe there is hope. But deep beneath the surface, the heart crystals pulsed faster, reacting to Ryan's unique human energy. Something was evolving, something beyond either of their understanding. The rebirth cycle was not just renewing the planet. It was changing it, and possibly merging it with something entirely new. Sarai didn't know it yet, but the spark that began from Ryan's touch would soon reshape both species forever. The planet Velara was no longer calm. Golden light filled the skies. Storms of crystal dust swept across continents, and the great heart crystals pulsed like living suns. The rebirth cycle had gone out of control. From orbit, the human ship Erebus Dawn watched the chaos unfold. Its sensors showed massive energy surges spreading through the crust, oceans boiling with life energy, and magnetic fields twisting wildly. Captain Ryan Keller stood on the observation deck beside High Envoy Sarai. Below them, her world shimmered like a star about to explode. It's worse than we thought, Ryan said quietly. The cycle isn't stopping, it's accelerating. Sarai's voice trembled, though she tried to stay calm. If it continues, our world will break apart. The core can't handle this much energy. Everything, everyone, will be lost. Ryan clenched his fists. He couldn't let that happen. Not after everything he'd caused. The plan the Velari scientists worked with the human engineers day and night. Together, they built a plan. The heart crystals drew their power from the planet's magnetic field. If they could use Erebus Dawn's reactors to send a counter-energy pulse through the core, they might calm the cycle. But it came with risk. The person controlling the pulse from within the planet's chamber would be exposed to raw life energy, something no human or Velari could survive for long. Ryan knew what that meant. I'll do it, he said firmly. Sarai turned to him sharply. No, you've done enough already. He shook his head. Exactly. This started because of me. My energy triggered the crystals. Maybe my energy can stop them too. Sarai's eyes flickered from orange to pale blue, a mix of fear and sadness. You will die, she whispered. Ryan gave a small smile. Maybe. But if humanity is to stand beside your people as friends, then I can't run from this. We humans, we fix what we break. For a long moment, Sarai said nothing. Then slowly, she nodded. Very well, Captain Keller. But you will not go alone. She placed her hand over her chest, where the heart crystal's glow reflected faintly beneath her skin. I will join you. My link to the planet may guide your energy. Together we may succeed. Ryan frowned. Are you sure? You said entering the heart chamber could destroy even you. Sarai's voice was soft but steady. If my world falls, there is no point in surviving. But if we succeed, perhaps our people will finally understand one another. The descent hours later, Ryan and Sarai descended into the planet's heart chamber, a vast cavern filled with living crystal columns that pulsed like the veins of a giant. The air shimmered with gold dust and every step hummed with power. Ryan wore a reinforced exosuit linked directly to Erebus Dawn. His vital signs, neural patterns, and energy output were being monitored from orbit. Sarai wore her ceremonial armor, made of woven crystal, glowing brighter with each step. Your world is beautiful, Ryan said quietly. Sarai glanced at him. Even in chaos we find beauty. That is what it means to live. At the chamber's center stood the heart core, a massive sphere of living light, rotating slowly. It was like standing before a sun. The vibrations shook Ryan's bones. Sarai stepped forward, placing her hands on the surface. The crystals recognize you now, human. They remember your energy. You must reach them again, not with force, but with will. Ryan closed his eyes. He remembered the first time he had touched the crystals, the shock, the pain, the beauty. Now he focused on calm, on life, on the hope that both their species could share this universe together. He placed his hands beside hers. Instantly, a surge of power raced through them both. The heart core exploded in light. The connection. For a brief moment, Ryan's mind was everywhere at once. He could see the planet, every forest, every ocean, every living creature. He felt the fear of the Velari, the determination of the humans helping on the surface. He even sensed the stars watching from the void. And then, he saw Sarai beside him, not as a figure, but as light. Her energy intertwined with his, human and alien merging for a single purpose. Ryan. Her voice echoed in his thoughts. The crystals are responding, but they're confused. Your energy is too different. Then guide me, he replied, his voice echoing in the shared light. Show me how to speak to them. She reached toward his energy, linking it to hers. Together, they focused, sending calm waves through the heart core. Slowly, the violent pulses began to fade. The golden storms above the planet weakened, but then the feedback hit. The core flared red, resisting the merge. The energy tried to separate them, to burn them apart. Hold on, Ryan shouted. We can do this. I can't. It's too strong, Sarai cried. Her body trembled as the energy ripped through her. Ryan gritted his teeth. Then take my strength. He pushed his life force into the connection, feeding the system his own energy. Pain tore through him, but he refused to let go. The crystals responded, glowing brighter. Sarai looked at him in shock. You're burning your life away. Better me than your world, he said through gritted teeth. The turning point from orbit, the crew of Erebus Dawn watched in disbelief. Massive energy waves were stabilizing. The chaotic spikes turned smooth, the light patterns forming organized spirals across the planet's surface. But the readings from Ryan's suit were dropping fast. Captain Keller's vitals are collapsing, shouted one of the crew. Down below, Sarai saw the same thing. Ryan's body was fading, his light flickering like a dying flame. No, she cried, clutching his hand. You will not vanish, human. She drew closer, pressing her crystal-covered palm over his heart. Her own glow flared, transferring her energy into him. If your life ends, so will mine. We finish this together. The core reacted instantly. The combined light of human courage and Velari spirit formed a single massive pulse. Pure white energy that spread across the planet like dawn. The storms vanished. The crystals stopped shaking. The world grew silent and still. The aftermath hours later, when the rescue teams entered the heart chamber, they found the core dim but peaceful. The air was clear again, the glow soft and warm. In the center, Ryan lay unconscious, Sarai beside him, both surrounded by gentle light. Their hands were still joined, When Ryan finally awoke aboard Erebus Dawn, he felt weak but alive. The first thing he saw was Sarai sitting beside him. Her usual calm smile returned. "You survived," he whispered. Her eyes glowed pale blue, the color of peace. "So did you. The planet sleeps again and the cycle is balanced. You did it, Captain Keller." He smiled faintly. "No, we did." Sarai tilted her head. "Your energy and mine have merged. The heart crystals now carry traces of humanity. Our future will never be the same." Ryan chuckled softly. "Guess that means Earth and Velara are family now." She smiled, placing a glowing hand on his arm. "Perhaps that is what your people do best, turning chaos into connection." The legacy weeks later, a new alliance was signed between Earth and Velara. Trade, research, and exploration missions were established. The two species began learning from one another, humans bringing their courage and adaptability, Velari sharing their wisdom and balance. Sarai often spoke to her people of the human who changed their world. "He was reckless," she said, "but his heart burned with hope, and hope is the strongest energy of all." Ryan became a legend, not as a conqueror, but as a bridge between species. The Velari named the restored crystal forest after him, the Keller Grove. Its trees glowed in soft gold light, a reminder that even the smallest mistake could lead to something beautiful, if one had the courage to make it right. And as the twin suns of Velara rose over the horizon, Sarai stood at the edge of the grove, watching the light dance across the sky. In that moment, she whispered softly to the wind, "Humans truly are the universe's wildest miracle."